hope it's running.
Yeah, check the recording.
Yeah, it's recording. Today, 2nd of April 1986, we are departing from Upminster on the 1757 to Romford. We will be calling at the one station on the line, Emerson Park. We are riding on train power car number 53362. As we head away from the main line Fenchurch Street to Shoebury Ness and also London Transport District line, we are now on our own. You may say that this is a branch line, a country branch line in a built-up area. The first bridge we're passing under now is Wingletie Lane, which is to be the proposed site of a suggested station at this point. Looks in all intents and purposes as being a road bridge. It is actually a footpath and is known as the Burnway Cattle Bridge. Years ago, cattle were driven across this bridge by herdsmen on their way to Romford Market. That's true.
No. Don't invite me too much, David, will you? I might go back to the brain damage.
Sorry. The second of the foot crossings on the line from the Upminster end is the Burnway foot crossing now, and just ahead of us is Emerson Park. Leave on what is known on this Emerson Park and what is now known as a very steep climb by this branch line standards. Half a mile ahead lays Osborne Road pedestrian crossing. Osborne Road is to the left and Hillview Avenue is to the right.
I hope they're going to put a light on this crossing when you get electric over here. I think they are. They want it. You can't see people in the dark even on these.
Coming up shortly on the right is a little post with a ladder attached to it. This was the position of a passing loop where trains up until 1948 or thereabouts came from Upminster to Emerson Park, up to this part of the line, the engine uncouple, run round the train, back onto the train the other end, into Emerson Park and away to Upminster. Now of course that is no longer possible. Here we have Burnway foot crossing. Osborne Road foot crossing, I beg your pardon. Nuts.
What's that bit like with radians, eh? What's that like being with radians, name records?
Not bad. One of the highest point of the branch line, and we now drop downhill under Upper Brentwood Road Bridge, sweeping round to join the main line and run level with it into Romford. Half lane earlier down at a little bit down Southminster.
So it looks like a Romford branch up.
With the Great Eastern Main Line to Norwich, and we are level with the line known as the Up Main. Trains on these two lines travel at 80 miles an hour, maximum speed. Here we are, at the point known as Romford Junction. There used to be a semaphore junction signal here, but the ground frame still remains. What we're doing down there, you know what this is for, don't you? Well, bridge for the ring road around Romford. Here we are at Romford, 3.25 miles from Upminster. It's faded out. Right, stop recording.
Faded. Do you record that?
Yeah. Well, we're now leaving Romford on the 1811 from Romford to Upminster. As we draw out, quite a little bit of activity is going on. As I mentioned earlier, the junction signal is no more. The ground frame, where the token to allow the driver to go onto the single line is drawn from, is still there. But the temporary level crossing laid across the rails is to do with the new ring road to bypass Romford Shopping Centre, which is being built underneath. Originally a through route to enable trains to go from Romford direct to Upminster and on to Ockenden and Grays and Tilbury, and a line that once boasted boat trains is now only a siding status, so to speak, to Upminster, where only one train is allowed to go up and down on the 3.25 mile branch line all day. This method of operation is known as one train only. As we pass under Victoria Road Bridge, the old track bed on the right was where the sidings to Hall's builders merchants used to lay. 1993 and Emerson Park opened in 1909, as we said earlier, it is a rural railway in a built-up area. Nonetheless, the wildlife along this line is very good. At certain times we have seen 3 families of foxes at different locations along the branch, together with numerous squirrels and of course the local domestic cat that seems to go from garden to garden by crossing the railway line.
Tell you what, if you'd have been here 2 trips earlier, you would have had a beautiful view of the Southminster and Colchester.
So I wish we had it done.
It's straight across in front of us, it was beautiful, it was. And down at where them flats are, where they are. Well, that holds out for one trip, we might see.
Having just completed a mile and a half, we're now running into Emerson Park, newly extended to take longer electric trains when the electric service starts on May the 12th.
May the 12th.
May the 12th?
I thought it was May the 17th.
No, May the 12th. Fan Bridge is just a shadow of what it was.
Oh yeah.
There's no carriage at Fan Bridge anymore.
Well, there's no carriage down that line at all. There's no carriage for Southminster anymore, is there?
No.
But there you go. That's progress, they tell me.
So they say.
See, we've got our 5% rise then.
Rich.
See,
We're rich. Why? 5%?
Yeah.
You've been agreed to. No strings attached.
Oh, I don't know for us about the strings, David.
Well, they said it was no strings attached.
It gives us an extra £6.30 for us. But there's nothing up at Stratford or anywhere for drivers that we've got it. The new pay sheets are 5% are up for all porters and guards. They're already up. So I'm just presuming if they've accepted it, therefore we have.
I hope so.
Makes us £133.50 basic. Still not worth a life, but getting up at 5 o'clock. Oh, I'm not joking. I've got 4 o'clock in the morning the other week, done 8-hour shifts, 5 days, took up £98. Somebody had the cheek to tell me I'm rich.
Between these 2 bridges, approximately halfway, is Maywin Drive and Woodall Crescent pedestrian crossing. Not much of it in evidence to the naked eye, but nonetheless still there. This, after we pass Wingletie Lane, the signal on the left is now the only signal, so to speak, on the entire line. It is a fixed distance, that means he only shows a yellow aspect to tell the driver that he's coming into a dead end at Upminster, just over half a mile away. Ahead of us is Upminster Windmill, 80 foot high, last ground corn in 1934, has been restored by a historical society and preservationists, and is open to the public at certain times during the year. Underneath, again not visible to the travelling public or even the drivers, is a bridge tunnel with 500,000 bricks in it carrying the railway over the River Ingraham. And that is true. Where the signal on the red is, on the right, which is red for underground trains, used to be where the line cut across the underground track to the up and down main line of Fenchurch Street and Shoebury-on-Ess, when trains used to be able to go straight through off this branch line at the Upminster end, last used in 1957. And here we are approaching Upminster. Don't worry about that, we'll see to that. All we ask is a blank tape and leave it to us.
Oh, you know, blank tape. No, I just want it for my own convenience. Because I won't have no more labour than after Friday. do realise you're getting all my best stops, David, for this, you know. I don't usually take this key.
Here we are at Upminster. Ahead of us is the sidings, the lines to the sidings of London Transport District Line and the LT Underground signal. One of the reasons for the success of these diesel multiple units was the comfortable seating and the large windows, which enabled passengers a good view of the rural areas through which the train travelled. This is the old first class or second class compartment with bus type seats, which have always been a strong feature of the token. As this line is operated under the one train only system, this token is the driver's authority to pass onto the single line. Earlier we saw the little signal box or ground frame at Romford. This is where this token is drawn from, and once this is in the driver's possession, the points are locked for trains to run up and down this line only. Which means that if the train should break down at anywhere along this line, this token has to be taken back to Romford to the ground frame to be unlocked for another engine or train to come down and tow the failed train away. In other words, it is fail safe. It has inscribed on it Romford to Upminster West. Upminster West signal box used to be at the London end of Upminster station, but is alas no more. It is also a numbered A35. So I'll put this back into the cab where it belongs. Road level foot crossing. The date is the 3rd of April 1986 and we are awaiting the run past of the 953 from Romford to Upminster. We're looking up the line at the present time towards Romford, and we'll pan round down the hill towards Emerson Park. Lots of passengers and even animals use these pedestrian walkways. Well, here along comes the train forming the 953 from Romford to Upminster. And as the train disappears in the distance down into Emerson Park Station. Here we are at Emerson Park Station, looking in the direction of Upminster. As you can see, the thing that distinguishes this station from a lot of other halts is the nice roof with the corrugated plating on the top, if you like, and the old cuttings in the woodwork, which gives it that little decorative glamour, for want of a better word. Anyway, we're waiting here now for the 10:15 from to Romford, and we'll look back up the track towards Romford. Up the line on what we said was the long drag as the Upminster Romford branch, stretching for half a mile to Osborne Road level crossing where we were earlier. On the right is one of the P-Way huts, which is now used no more, on the side of Hillview Avenue and Osborne Road on the left.
Yeah, electric station, how many sides is that? It's still got those 2 car packs.
That's right.
Can't see it reading.
In 1979, when Stratford Depot had its first open day for about 30 years, we had a 4-car train down here. Well, now here comes one of the 3-car DMU'S, forming the 1011 from Upminster to Romford. as the train heads up the hill towards Osborne Road and Romford. Now this will be the last train now till 1600 today, because the line is blocked for essential engineering work. Generally the service will be at 15 and 45 minutes past the hour from Emerson Park to Romford, and 27 and 57 minutes past the hour from Emerson Park to Upminster during the whole day. So the next train now will be the 1607 from Romford. Arrives Emerson Park at 16:11. Around the corner. Here we're looking at a bridge number, because although the bridges have names on this line, such as the Burnway Cattle Bridge, Wingletie Lane and so on, each bridge has to be numbered. That we are looking at now are the newest additions to the line, which are for the permanent way department mainly. These give the level that the rails are laid at. Something that has never been seen on this bridge until fairly recently. We are now inside the booking office at Emerson Park Station, which, until converted to electric light, was lit inside by gas lamps. Ahead of us is the very small tiny window where the booking office clerk can see everything that goes on the station and passengers coming down the ramp to catch the train. Even now, with the electric lights and forthcoming electrification, the line still carries its character, and this is very much part of it. This is looking back inside the booking office clerk office to the other end. The booking office clerk Dave Chappell is on duty. Here we are looking at some of the stocks of tickets. In the distance we have 53361 disappearing past the fixed distance signal, round over the River Ingrebourne and towards Upminster Station. As we look up the branch towards Romford, the track is slewed. Well, the rails under Wingletie Lane Bridge, where we are now, were originally further over, but to give more clearance with for the overhead live wires, the track was moved more to the centre of the bridge. We're having a closer look at the fixed distance signal for Upminster. Only ever shows a yellow light, but when they used to have a token instrument under the stairs at the Upminster end, where the driver would put the token in the machine and the signalman would give a release so that the signal under the bridge for trains coming towards Romford could go green. This used to also show green. Well, now it only shows one yellow and is supplied by a battery. And I was informed that this battery still is changed every 6 months. We are now looking down the line under Wingletie Lane Bridge towards Upminster. And here comes 53361. Just give you some idea more of what the actual cutting is like. Well, do you want to be filmed going up the stairs?
No, thank you.
No, not be seen by any.
Going up or coming down?
Do you mind?
When did it change over?
This is some of our regular clientele have just come off the 1757 from Upminster. At the moment, all is quiet at Emerson Park, although the time is about 13 minutes past 6 in the evening. It has temporarily stopped raining. We're now awaiting the arrival of the 1811 from Romford, which should be pulling in shortly. In actual fact, it is quite atmospheric here at the moment, as the rain is dripping off the canopy, making puddles on the platform edge, and the sun is shining brightly, giving us a foretaste of the nice light evenings to come. As we look up the line now in the distance, the Craven unit is now approaching. On one evening in the summer a few years ago, I had to stop this train, the 1811 from Romford, as a family of foxes were playing on the middle of the track just by the P-Way hut. The passengers couldn't believe it, but this brings us back to the rural railway in a built-up area. This is to give you this shot more of the station as the train enters the platform. Having boarded the 1815 from Emerson Park, we'll look around the guards brake, as we've already seen the driver in his duties. The guard this evening is Guard Nigel Woods of Stratford, who, as you can see, does enjoy a pipe. The kind of pipe one has to keep relighting all the time. The Upminster end of the line, where the passengers are alighting during the rush hour. Hello, we are now standing on the bridge leading to the London Transport signal box as the 1836 from Romford arrives at Upminster station. Well, today's date is the 3rd of April 1956. I think above the roar of the district line, we will go there. And it's really cool. Here we are from under the canopy at Romford station, looking onto the wooden platform. At one time, the wooden platform went right across to the retaining wall, which stretches from here virtually up to the first footbridge that you come to. Well, we'll go onto the train and ready for another. We're now on board the 1836 from Romford to Upminster, with driver Paul Griffiths in command. And of course the weather is still being perfect.
won't be doing it, will I? Because that's where you do the cutting out, and he takes it back to the shed now, doesn't he?
That's right.
So I won't be doing these anymore.
After today?
Yeah. My next term was the last Southminster, but I'm on holiday, so I don't get it.
So this really is your last day?
It'll be the last day unless I get it on overtime tomorrow.
Only a few knobs and it'll go.
were supposed to be on it yesterday down on the Wickford.
Posing for you, there you are.
Why not?
Does that sound as well?
Afraid so.
Oh my god.
Yeah, just get a photo of this picture. We get on with AWS Fitty for a start. See ya. Today date is the 2nd of April 1986 and we are on the 1256 from Wickford to Southminster. We will be calling at Battlesbridge, Woodham Ferrers, Fambridge, Hawthorne, Burnham-on-Crouch and Southminster. At the present time we're now leaving the main line and heading on to the single line to the first crossing place and only crossing place at Fambridge. about now was where a curve, a separate railway, joined onto this line, which enabled trains to come from Southend to Woodham Ferrers and either to Southminster or then, until 1956, to Malden without touching Wickford. Now there's very little trace that ever such line existed. Bridge, which is the first station on the line, and we have just come 2.5 miles. Is that your own? Your own? No, we hired it. Just got it 2 days. We can get the camera back. That's £32 for 2 days. It's a cheap camera and you can keep it in. Who's that? DR. I was thinking of car or something like that. I'm going on a trip to Holland. Just tight, so there's no, no changing over times. 3 hours. Battery in the back. from Wickford. There's a new type of level crossing, which is an open level crossing, flashing lights, as the semaphore signals and the gates, their last day was on the 8th of March. Unlike the conventional level crossing gates, which were manned, these level crossings are unmanned, and the white flashing light you can see indicates to the driver that the lights for the motorist are in working order. After we leave here, the next stop will be Fanbridge, 8 1/4 miles from Wickford, and the only passing loop on the line.
That's why I left it. I was going to shut this one earlier on, but yes. As the name of this railway is called the Crouch Valley Line, as the name implies that we run near the river. Well, the river itself is actually to our right, across the flats. We are now at one of the nearest points that the railway should get to the river. The tide's not here. The tide's out. It is, yeah.
approaching Fanbridge, which is 8¼ miles from Wickford, and as I said earlier, the halfway point on the line. Originally, this line was worked by this single line electric coaching. But on the 18th of January, which was on the Saturday evening, the signal box at Fanbridge was taken away, and the following Monday the line reverted to track circuit block, where the signalman at Wickford controls all trains the entire 16½ miles. The train that's passing us now is the 1358 from Southminster, which is a Craven 2-car diesel multiple unit, and is 54126 the trailer car and 53361 the power car. The signalman at Wickford has now pulled the points and pulled the signal to green to enable us to continue the other 8¼ miles to Southminster. As we clear Fanbridge, we now go in a dead straight line and up and over the hill in front of us towards Hawthorne, and on our way passing some of the most beautiful countryside there is in Essex. more worse than this, and it came in on the cab. I was so through the destination blind, all in, rain everywhere. We are now approaching Hawthorne, which is 11¼ miles from Wickford. At the present time, the weather's not been very kind to us. We're just pleased that we're inside the train where it's dry, as against to being on the platform where it's very, very wet. This is where it packed up, just before, wasn't it?
Yes, where it packs up last time.
It's possible to edit it in, you see, so you can sort of make it continuous. See the overhead live wires, which will carry the 25,000 volts AC to feed the electric trains, seem to zigzag as we go along underneath. The reason for this zigzagging is that even wear is given to the carbon head and the pantograph, which is the electrical pickup arm on the electric trains. Gasometer from
Sudbury, which is a few miles away to our right, but the big large gasometer in the town can be clearly seen from here. Well, we now swing inland away from the path, the course of the River Crouch, crossing a little pedestrian crossing on the edge of Burnham, which is known locally as Clear Crossing, after which we begin to stop at the station. Well, we can plug a bit in at the time down there, can't we?
Yeah, how we got down there?
25 minutes.
That's for coffee anyway.
Yeah. Do you want a coffee with us?
Yes, please.
Yeah, right, okay. We're now at Burnham on Crouch. Here we leave running level with the River Crouch to go inland for 2.5 miles into Southminster. We have come 14.25 miles from Wickford, and as I said, we're now about to turn left to a near straight run right into Southminster. Another sign the roads, I know what the miles are, but when you show this to anybody, they're going to say, oh, you missed that yellow quarter and that sort of thing. Bank round out of Burnham on Crouch, we are passing underneath a bridge which is the highest point on the entire branch line. Southminster. This is where the sand trains used to run, weighing up to about 900 tonnes, from all the way to Mile End. The only sand train to Mile End now, of course, comes from Marks Bay. On the left is the compound where the atomic flask is loaded and unloaded, carrying the waste from Bradwell Power Station.
at Southminster, having completed the 16.5 miles from Wickford, and from Liverpool Street the mileage is 45. We are now leaving Southminster for the return journey to Wickford at 13:58, and we are now in the power car at the other end of the train, which is 53865. Approaching Burnham on Crouch. Can I offer you a sandwich?
Oh, jeez. I'm glad you come on here now.
Do you want these chips as well?
No.
I'm not worried about it.
focus shouldn't change, should it?
So I press
Full auto.
full auto, which is here. Just press autofocus again.
Yeah.
Due to engineering work on the line, this section of track is not fit to be run at the full track speed. So we have to reduce, the driver has to reduce speed to 20 miles an hour. And we will continue at that until you see a blue board with a white T on it, which indicates termination of speed restriction. Then the train will then build up to full speed again. See, my mother watches this, she's going to want to know. My mother watches this. First thing she's going to look at is, what the hell's that? What's that? Have you taken a view of the desk? No. We can't reach the desk anyway, so it's just now. We'll do all that in a later date, or other chaps have done it, so we haven't really got to concentrate on that at the moment, so you're alright. Oh, that was your show, mate? Yeah, we might get one of you later on.
Now I can show my old woman how good I am.
Approaching Hawthorne, 5¼ miles from Southminster.
us lays on either side Fanbridge village, and in the distance is the 2-car Craven DMU waiting for us to pass so it can continue its journey to Southminster. We are now approaching Fanbridge. Originally this station had a very nice signal box which controlled a home and section signal in both directions and the points. The distance semaphore signals were always fixed, and also this station boasted a very nice wrought iron footbridge.
Griffiths over there. Rambo Griffiths. When the tide is in, the water comes right up to the left-hand edge of the bank. Ahead of us is Woodham Ferrers, the town centre being to our left, which was visited not too long ago by the Queen. corner lays Woodham Station.
Here we have Woodham Ferrers Station, recently extended to take the longer electric trains. Ahead of us lays a steep climb up towards Battlesbridge and continue on to Wickford. We have 5 miles to go to reach Wickford. now approaching Battlesbridge, and from here it's just 2.5 miles to Wickford. This station has been recently converted to take longer trains. So let's put in the power and you can press that to record. Not just here. Oh, you live and learn, don't you?
What me and Smithy was going to do, we were going to cycle out to Howe Beach, cycle out to Howe Beach, right? And then get our bikes. Well, you're not allowed to kiss it. So, just get out. George, why are you stuck in like your first night? Oh,
to Southend to enable trains to go from Southminster to Southend without going via Wickford. It did have a through service to Colchester, but which finished in 1898, a long time ago. The signal, which is one yellow, has above it a D, which means that we are going into the Down Bay at Wickford.
Wickford signal box, which controls all the signalling and train movement. 16.5 miles from Wickford to Southminster.
There you go. Push the handle down.
While the driver, Mr. Thomas Stevenson, and guard Davies Harris walk up the train for the changing in process. Then the train will leave at 15:54 on its journey back to Wickford. This is one of the 3-car DMU's that are based at Stratford, along with the 2-car Craven DMU's that we also have at Stratford. As you can see, the lights are now being changed from the tail lamp of red to the white lights. This indeed is going to be a sight that we're not going to see very much more, because of the electric trains will replace the present service. In the distance we can hear the 15:54 from Southminster, which is the trains we've photographed earlier, 53965 power cart and 53921. Up the track towards Fanbridge, with the train disappearing in the distance. We're now looking up the track towards Hawthorne, and we'll pan round to give you a closer view of the beautiful scenery in this part of Essex. Once again looking towards Canewden Church. And up the Crouch Valley, and this direction looking what must be a straight line towards Hockley and Rayleigh areas.
Anything lie underneath as a white background, it's not going to show up when I get to
Can't hold it in my hand, that's what I get.
you on roaches. Just called if they're used to the be coming down here, taking them away when they're taken out.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. Where's Golden Spike?
Station with the train unit forming the 1405 back to Sudbury. Driver Ron Willoughby will be shortly changing ends. This station, being the nearest one to the centre of the town, is very, very handy for shopping. And this is why until fairly recently, trains were only running from Sudbury to Colchester or Marks Tay. For the shoppers' benefit, amongst other people, it was extended round to St Botolphs. Something which seems to be commercially a success. And of course the passengers like it very much. We're looking at the back of the train, St Botolphs platform, looking up the line towards Eastgate Junction. At one time there used to be a parcels terminal here and extensive sidings at the Eastgate Junction end of St Botolphs, to the right as you leave.
Yes, please. Okay, thank you.
As you can see, the train service is operated by the pay train principle, where you don't all necessarily have a ticket at the booking office, but the tickets are issued and checked by the guard on the train. Thank you. We are now leaving St Botolphs at 1405 on our way back to Colchester and on to Marks Tay and Sudbury. This is Colchester, having just come 2¼ miles from St Botolphs. As we leave Colchester is another view of the diesel locomotive depot, and we now have 5 miles to go to Marks Tay. Could do for that in my garden.
Now it's been here all this time.
The thing we've got to watch with these is the battery supply at the back. When we get the Marks Tay, we've got to click that off. Another one on ready for the journey down.
How long does the battery last? How long does the battery last?
The one lasts an hour, well it's supposed to be 2 hours, but we reckon safely an hour and a half. And the other one's a 1 hour one, so... I suppose they'll have to relay it one day.
Just been painted up, doesn't it? I reckon that was what? Must have been 12 years ago, not more. We took a load of wooden sleepers over there. I know you know, by them wooden bridges, they got them with the metal bits on.
Yeah.
Now we took all the wooden ones over there and replaced them. They've still got the metal ones there.
is the 1210 from Liverpool Street to Ipswich, formed of 2 Clacton units. One unrefurbished since it was built, and the new sort of refurbished look that the same kind of units again, and then painted up in Essex Coast Express colours. Known to most staff and drivers as the Jaffa Cake train. That's for my boys, believe it, mate.
Yeah. I reckon they've all got to be molded again and painted with that new colours.
Oh, no.
I mean, it's wrong really when they put the Essex Coast Express and then send it to Suffolk, isn't it?
When they first mooted electrification to Norwich, we thought that they would maintain the service. They're quite capable of it.
I thought that it was that.
Yeah.
And then they get bothered with the electric logos. I suppose they got some logos and some carriages to wear out first. Occasionally at parks and with a boat train, but they don't always have that.
Oh, I see what you mean, yeah.
It goes right along the side of the train.
That's not on, you know. That is wrong.
It's open there, but when it's shut, that's the first thing you can see. Three bloody great red doors, isn't it?
We have now swung across from the up line to the down line and now into the branch platform to start the Markstay to Sudbury branch.
Down, I reckon.
On the way down, I'll be up and coming this.
Right, corner, both of them.
As we leave Markstay, we're now passing a news signal, in position but not yet in use. This is placed nearer to the end of the branch platform and will replace the one that are coming into view now. Also on the upline, the other tall signal will be replaced by the new position one, which is at a lower level for the driver's eyes. It's a shame actually, because these are nice, you know.
You can't see it, you won't see the other one. Not all the trees around. You can that one, you can't that one.
I bet they don't pull the trees, cut the trees back.
That's supposed to be over here in September. That fire should be shared.
Oh, I
So if
see.
you'd have come over there, you'd have seen a bleeding mess, wouldn't you?
Yeah, not our.
They don't cut it, they just chew it up, don't they?
Having just passed the 48-mile post, which means that we're 48 miles from Liverpool Street, it's nice to see how natural tunnels of trees form over these branch lines. They did that on the Upminster Romford branch. They had a natural tunnel just before Emerson Park and the trees grow.
There used to be one down here, they cut it down. You know that, what do you call it, grandfathers? Turn thing, you know,
Yeah.
it's all, there's a great opening connected up to the one on the other side.
Oh.
There was just a hole in where we went through. Just a hole in the stuff there. Grandfather's whiskers or something, wasn't it?
I think so. How many more trips are you doing?
I do, two after.
If we're successful on this one, when we get off, it'd be alright if we're about the side of the line of places, you know, pedestrian crossings, at least you know we'll be there, somewhere around anyway.
The first one was Chalker's trip, the next one is mine, or this one's mine. I should relate it to.
Ah, I see.
This way you see on the cross, all over here.
Oh, lovely. Well, the one at Romford, they had to cut on Emerson Park, they had to cut down because of the wires, but...
They cut that way, because it's getting too bad, I think. Back this way, isn't they?
Ah.
That's where they were to start with. No, further back now. That must be another one.
After just passing a group of plate layers, we now find ourselves out onto the viaduct. It's 100 foot high, 100 foot high.
Actually, they're quite a slope when you come along the road.
It is actually, yes.
Along the road, direction.
After coming off the viaduct at about 100 feet off the ground, we now enter gently into Chapel-on-Wake's Colne station.
I see a last time your brick thing there now. I've seen that one before.
It's a Buffy.
No, that's over there, look. And an old red engine. East Anglian what? Railway Museum.
Railway Museum, Thomas.
Yeah, I've seen that one before.
Got a face on.
Has it?
Yeah.
Oh! Oh, I noticed that one there before.
That on the, I used to travel to and from home on the district line with that stock over there. That's the old,
Oh, the old London.
yeah, the old last district line stock.
Yeah, yeah. The one at Headingham has got more stuff in this, hasn't it?
Yeah, there's one of our second men. He's up there.
They would have run these people, they just vanished to the museum.
Oops.
That's a long while to start with one back, isn't it?
Catch you unawares.
Brake was on. Oh, they've got the blowing in steam now, look.
Oh yeah. A little
Saddle tank there.
that's, where did that box come from? That's Misty, isn't it? There's a Misty box.
No, I don't know, this week.
Rabness.
Somebody had brain box. No, I know that this one had brain box with a Headingham one.
No.
I don't know which one had the brain box. That could be brain one. That was there before they took this again. That was there before Leslie came out. Well, I reckon it could be the brain one.
Where did the old line off to Mousey go off?
Put it across there, to the bridge up there.
I see.
No, bridge is still there. Well, we just come out of the station. Up through the first bridge, you know. And then just turn straight off. The bridge is still there.
Well, we can actually voice over this at a later date anyway.
Right.
So we can put more commentary on it later on anyway and carry on. So.
Yeah. When we used to go over there, we used to have to go over there and firemen lock the gates and lock them up again. We had two locks, one lock on each gate, and they had two bloody keys, so you never got the right key, did you? Every time. Change the keys out.
Brilliant.
Well, I suppose they bought the locks, you see, with two keys, and we had to drive the car. Arm had one and the guard had the other one.
Marvellous.
Each lock has got different keys. Colchester car park was one of the best at one time. Did you ever see that picture? I had a picture of it in the paper. Because every department had their own key. They all had a different lock. Yeah, especially with the chain, there was all these locks on it, different locks. And each department had a key to their lock.
Studying all those. Yes, he thinks they're interesting. We're now approaching Mount Viewers Crossing. Down to Viewers itself, the village lays mainly to the right of the line. We are 53 miles from Liverpool Street. Of the track when trying to get out of the way of the train.
They're building a nice big house where the BR signalbox used to stand.
Oh, there.
Oh, hey. Have another road in there. The signalbox was somewhere right there.
Great.
Crossover point here. Bring down the bottom there and then there, and the box was just about where that house is. Changed the key at all these, Steve Dave. Pick one up at Markstone, then change it here, and then you change it again at Sudbury. Get a lot of camera movement on the video.
You depends if when it's handheld. If you don't hold it, you can hold it reasonably steady. It comes up pretty well on the screen. And the same here, that the actual movement of the train is on a tripod, so really the tripod's going with the train. It won't be that much different.
I should have thought that there was more movement if you got it on a tripod than if you hold it in my hand. But I've tried steady on this tonight. But I've got to see today you can't hold it on.
You can.
Well, you can.
Oh yeah, videoed the branch lines that we usually drive over, but this, some of us at Stratford regard this as very, very picturesque down here, so we just want a picture of it. We don't come down here, we never will, but it's just nice to have a picture of, just record the...
No, the snail shots out the rear. So, if I try and get one, you'll be enough, won't you?
No, I'll put down out of the way, eh?
You know that one better than I do. Much cooler, this.
Yeah, this is the trailer car, isn't it? It's a bit... passing through La Marche with its very nice pub, very nice bungalows and the picturesque church which is to our left.
Now on your right, not yet, but you're going to upside down X.
Oh, bungalow?
No, X. Upside down X. Right?
What, here?
Up here, yeah.
I've got to see.
Doesn't look no different than any other house. I'll tell you what you see.
That's right, yeah.
And you build it upside down.
Oh my god.
It doesn't look any different, but as I say,
it's original.
Yeah. All downstairs instead of its bedrooms.
Just stopping to drop the mail off.
drop more on the way over.
When you go around, you've got Sudbury coming up soon.
Not very scenic coming into Sudbury, is it?
Well, I don't know,
Buildings, isn't it?
well, you've got the station building, that monstrosity they built at the end of the platform, but you've got the, just round the corner, you've got the old signal gantry.
What's left of it?
Yeah, what's left of the posts. We have just passed the 58-mile post, so it's 58 miles from Liverpool Street.
That's lovely, that is. Yeah. I don't see anybody in it yet.
In the distance lay Sudbury Church. This is Sudbury.
Sudbury Sports Centre, that is. Will be.
Ahead of us, when finished, across the old track bed is Sudbury Sports Centre, which means that it blocks the elevation of the track up to Long Melford. We're straight on from Long Melford for Lavenham and Bury St Edmund. We are now standing by the side of the line at a foot crossing just past La Marche, and the Metropolitan Camel DMU, forming the 1314 from Sudbury, is fast approaching us. And here she comes. And there she goes, disappearing up the line towards Chapel and Wake's Colne and Marks Tay. Here we are at Sudbury Station, waiting for the departure of the 1510 to Colchester. Still the same Metropolitan Camel DMU 51215 and 54402, a trailer car at the other end, sitting in Sudbury Station. As we can see, Sudbury is a shadow of what it once was. There were two platforms here. Platforms for the trains to Cambridge via Long Melford. From here, the footbridge, you get a better view overall of Sudbury Station. After panning round to the left to see some of the derelict buildings and the rest of the station which gave it its former glory, just in time to see the guard go back to the train after telephoning the signalman at Marks Tay. And here we go as driver Steele from Colchester brings out the 1510 back to Colchester. As the train has sat for about nearly half an hour at Sudbury, the engine's still idling. Some of the exhaust is a little bit more, how we say, strong when the train leaves. And there she goes away back up to Marks Tay. Dating from the days where everything was lit by gas, here is a surviving gas mantle. Looking down the line towards Great Cornard Crossing and Sudbury, waiting for the departure of the 1510 back to Colchester. The train will be formed by power car 51268 and 54422 power trailer car, Craven unit, which we filmed on earlier. Over in the field to the left of us we have a train spotter on 4 legs. Probably known as Dobbin, but he doesn't seem to be interested by us or anything else that's going on. As we saw on the Romford to Upminster line, pussycats tend to cross the railway to get from one garden to another. This cat is doing the same. Only being in a very astute mog, he's getting well clear as the train is due very shortly. I've just heard a two-tone horn. The 1510 is definitely on its way. And here she comes now. She's just whistled up to As we're looking across, the Craven unit is passing across the viaduct at Chapel. What a splendid sight this is. 25 spans and the largest engineering feat in East Anglia. We are now on the footbridge at Chapel and Wakescolne Station, looking across the viaduct towards Marks Tay. We're now looking up the line towards Sudbury, but let us for a moment glance to our right to the layout of the Stour Valley Railway Preservation Society's headquarters. As you can see, there's many examples of exhibits on general display to the public, including one of their newest acquisitions, a London Transport R-Stock driving motor coach, which in service operated between Ealing Broadway, Richmond, Wimbledon, High Street Kensington, Olympia and Upminster, and it has barking on the destination blind. And the entire District Line service is now operated by D78 stock. In front of that is a steam locomotive, a standard tank, some of which have been used on the Fenchurch. Here is another view of Chapel and Wakescolne Station, and panning across to the Preservation Society Centre, we see once again the London Transport driving trailer, and in front of that is the boiler of the N7 locomotive undergoing restoration. A closer view of the 264 tank loco, which I said earlier may have been run between Fenchurch Street and Sudbury. And we look up now to await the arrival of the 1627 from here, which trained to Sudbury. In the distance I can hear the DMU approaching now. Train eases away up towards Sudbury. 51268, 54422 is the car numbers.